here for you. I've never usually done this song because I just don't like the pronunciation of the name. But by the way, who we are? I'm Dennis Stromack, and we are L'Esprit Creole, and we're going to be playing some Illinois, Missouri, Indiana French Creole music for you, also known as Upper Louisiana, Louisiana. So here's a song for you that comes from just across the river, called "A Prayer to Roach Your Motion" is the name of it. Sorry, folks. We're still trying to kind of catch our breath a little bit. Mentioned earlier today, we were on stage in Connecticut yesterday about 2 o'clock. So we flew into Chicago last night and hopped on. Well, how many hours of sleep again? About 4 or 5. 4 or 5 hours of sleep. So anyway. Here's a song here for you. I picked this up from a lady. A lot of tunes we're going to do. We'll do kind of a little bit more Missouri stuff today. I picked this up from a lady that used to be around the Cannon Mines area. But I don't know if anybody's ever been there. Probably not. But a lady by the name of Velma Schaefer used to do this song. Something called Cara de Sed is the name of it. This actually didn't even know where it was from for many years. When I started learning a lot of these songs, didn't really know much about them other than, you'd ask somebody, well, yeah, this song comes from Cadet or it comes from Kingston Mines, Richwoods, or someplace like that. And then you start doing research and you find, oh, actually this song has its, derivative in France, or it comes from Canada or something like that. And so this is one that's actually a derivative that comes from Normandy. And something called Cadet Roussel is the name of it, or Cadet Roussel. just really means just a young man. It's really the intent, you might say the intent there. And the guy is seems to have some problems occasionally, gets himself in trouble. But the fortunate thing about it is nobody gets hurt. I don't believe, anyway.
Ce soir, oh vraiment, car c'est mon enfant. Car le ciel a une maison, il porte une cheveux. Oh, vraiment, car le sel, bon enfant. Car le sel, la canzone, un parole de la privée. Le troisième bébé, c'est l'innocent qui est plus seul. Oh, vraiment, car le sel, bon enfant. Je pourrais réparer du temps, car le sel, donc quand on ment. Oh, vraiment, car le sel, bon enfant. Okay, we're gonna get this band plugged in over here and tell y'all a funny story. So I guess it was kind of funny. It caught me a little bit by surprise. So Thursday night we were playing at this festival out in Connecticut, and a lady comes up to me on stage and she says, "I've seen you recently." And I was like, "Oh, okay." She said, no, I really saw you recently. I was like, well, okay, where? She goes, "In the Arch." I said, "At the Arch?" And she said, yeah. She says, "You're on a video at the Arch." She says, "I think that was you anyway." She says, "There's some long-haired guy with a beard that's in there." And I said, "Nah, that was me." She goes, "I knew it. I knew that was you." So anyway, if you go up to the Arch and you see the exhibit up there on North American French, it was redone a few years ago. That's me. That's not my doppelganger. Hey, awesome. so much better. Now we got some wind. Some animé. Oui. Right. Tell you what we'll do. We'll do a very, very local, very extremely local song for you. There was a guy who was a really cool fiddle player that lived just a few miles up the road. Anybody know Lloyd? Mcgee? Yeah. Nope. Yeah. All right. A few people knew it. Lloyd was a cool guy, great fiddle player. He had a few songs. He was a great country fiddle player too. He had a few songs though that were French tunes, and this is one we'll do for you. This is a waltz called Valley Winter's Waltz. It's the name of it. Okay. It's starting to warm up. Starting to get a little warm. So that's already got make me thinking already, you know, about cool weather. So how about we do a winter song here for you? You know, cool us down a little bit. Here's a Christmas tune. Right. Yeah, let's do the Christmas song. This is we'll definitely do some Charlie Paggi tunes today for you. Charlie was a very, very cool fiddle player that used to hang out. Like I said, I knew Lloyd very, very well. Didn't know Lloyd as well. I used to hang around a guy named Charlie Paggi, though, quite a bit. And knew a lot of old tunes, played some interesting ways. Of course, he hung out, and, played twin fiddle with things with a guy named Roy Booyer, who was probably my main mentor, main teacher. But
this is a song that Charlie would play as a dance tune, and I learned this one, though, from Ida Portel to sing the song. And it's called Tu viens tu berger, is the name of it. Or Quoi vas-tu berger? Quoi vas-tu? Depends where you're at. Depends which village. Some people call it Tu viens tu, some people call it Quoi vas-tu. And oh shepherd, where do you come from? Basically, you know, it's almost like basically the French version of Cotton Eye Joe. You know, where you come from, where you go, where you come from, Cotton Eye Joe. Kind of similar in some ways. And well, anyway, when I learned this song from her, you know, we talked about the fact that I had asked her about the fiddle part, you know, the dance tune, and she was like, "No, there is no dance tune in this song." And I was like, "Oh," and she says, "Oh yeah, I know about Old Man Paget playing this as a fiddle tune." She says, "Dennis, this is a church song." She said, "You know, we know what's going to happen to Old Man Paget playing this as a dance tune." So anyway,
we're going to do it as a dance tune.
We're going to do it as a dance tune. I know we're already in trouble.
Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas. Enjoy your day and all that stuff. So, makes me want to go back to the air conditioning.
There we go. You know, I'm really glad we have this fan up here. Can you guys hear it out there through the microphones?
No.
You can?
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, it's okay. Because we're okay with that, as long as you're okay with that.
Get a little closer to it.
Can you feel the breeze through the microphones through the fan?
That's,
No. Okay.
you know. Thank you. Thank you. Is there a certain, like, key that it's humming in?
Look what that fan did to me.
Almost a slight G, almost borderline G sharp. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll do a tune here for you. This mentioned Charlie Paggi. We'll do another Charlie Paggi song for you. This is one. We'll do a song here for you that this is a hard tune to play. See if I can remember all the parts of it. This is it's a song called Father Schottish. Hey, do you have something you want to say? All right, we would like to announce that the Lions have the most delicious jambalaya with cornbread. That's right. Pan Mailly, they got it. And they are also still selling their Cajun pork burgers. All right? And the festival committee is now selling 50-50 tickets. So you have an opportunity to get some jambalaya if you would like that. You remember what I said? Who was here earlier? We talked about jambalaya. Okay. All right, so you got a couple words going on there. You've got some different. I'm going to go back into teacher mode again. All right. Somebody give me a podium. I'll be in trouble. But so remember, we got some jambon. All right, jambon à la ya. All right, so we got some words there. We got jambon, pork, jambon à la with ya, West African for rice. Okay, so there we go. There's a perfect combination of French and African. All right, so you can go get some of that and then get you some Cajun pork burgers while you're at it. And the festival committee is now selling 50-50 tickets. All right. Put this down. This is going to blow away. Remind me. Thank you, Greg. This is something called Father Schottish is the name of it. Schottish Pad. And I'm not really sure if that was even really the name because they actually had different names for this song. But anyway, we'll do it for you. It's really cool too.
interesting too.
There's a lot of those right there. Yeah.
All right, I'll tell you what. We'll do. Hey. You haven't seen it. Now we got to do this song. This is one of my favorite tunes. We always got to get this one out of the way. And do this one. This is another Ida Portel song, but this is one that actually really is kind of more connected to Vincennes, Indiana, in a lot of ways. And this is a song called Grand Promenade. The name of it. Grandmother Complains. And so this is a song. Well, you just go ahead and tell us.
Well, first of all, let's establish out there, men, is there a grandma sitting beside you that complains all the time? Go ahead and raise your hand. It's okay. Wow, there's not a single one out there.
Really, I was looking at my tuning. Oh, wait a second. We got two over here.
Okay, there we go.
All right, knitting. Okay.
So what happens here is Grandma is complaining to Grandpa that she is cold and hungry. So Grandpa gets tired of this and decides to do something about this. And so he goes out into the wilderness to grab gather some firewood and bring back something to eat, but he does not return back home. He guesses on why Grandpa does not return home with the food and the firewood for Grandma, besides the obvious. No guesses whatsoever.
Wow. Well, he went to the casino?
Nope. He actually got eaten by a wolf.
Wow.
But you know what? Doesn't matter. Grandma is still complaining because she's still cold and hungry. And this is a love story. Yeah. Because the wolf is in love with Grandpa.
That's right. Now they got the right idea.
a beautiful, sad song. And such beautiful dancing. How about that? Now, something to keep in mind about these old Illinois, Missouri, Indiana, French Creole songs. If it is a slow song now, we're going to get you mentally prepared for this. It does not have a good outcome at the end. So be prepared.
They're extremely depressing, actually. You know.
And by all means, don't take it out on us because we're just the messengers.
I almost need therapy after doing some of these songs. All right, we'll do one that's not so bad. I used to, well, a lot of folks here in St. John knew him very, very well as the little Frenchman that would come around. Pete Bouillard was around here a lot back in the old days, and I enjoyed the heck out of Pete. He was a good guy. I used to hang around with him a lot, and he would always correct me in certain things. He would be like, "No, you didn't say that right." And so, but anyway, he was an interesting guy. He used to tell a lot of interesting stories. And he knew some cool little ditties, some little songs that weren't very long. And he was a fiddle player, but he wasn't really known much as a fiddle player. He had a fiddle, put it that way. And so, but he did have a few cool tunes that were kind of fun. And this is one of those. There's not much to it. Basically, it's Congé Petit is the name of it. Congé Petit, and we want to say it the way we say it. And it's just when I was little, basically, is the name of the song. Quand j'étais petit, je suis pas bien grand, je montrais monter pour passer, pour voir si mon grand, the chicken don't damn my big grand-mère. Well, basically, it's kind of like almost saying like, well, I'm little, but someday I'm going to grow up, kick you in the shins, and dance around my grandmother. So it's
that makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, and I've never really figured that out. Cause he would like chant this little thing, and he would sing it and do a little dance with it. But so anyway, there wasn't a whole lot to it. But it's a fun little song to play. So we'll do it for you. Your tuning is constantly moving. It doesn't help the fact that I changed strings this week too. Bingo. I know, I never changed strings. Well, I left them on the, the strings I had on this second and fourth. I've been on there since like so, it's getting long in the tooth. This is not even my favorite fiddle, though. This is my travel fiddle.
vecino entrò di montare più rosa, romero masciù, romero
Hey, another dancer out there. Let's give her a big hand now. Thank you.
Oh yeah, Pete was. You know, that's the only thing that I aggravated about the street here is they removed the mural that Pete was on. Remember that? You did? Yeah. Yes. Yes. Pete was really cool. He knew all these. He knew all these. Rare rabbits. Bouki Pilafin. He knew lots of them. He used to recite those things to me all the time. They drilled them in my head. So I know several. Tell you what, let's do. All right, we'll do one from Louisiana. We'll do a few things from Louisiana for you. I'm not going to go too far that direction. That was earlier today. So, but we'll do one for you. We'll do Jolie Blanc. We got to do the Cajun National Anthem. So we'll do this one. You have, I know you guys wanted it. I knew you would dance that one. So.
pretty much shot. So yeah, it's I've been having some vocal issues recently anyway. So, and then we're having a hard week playing a lot of different places. So I'm having to kind of work on push my keys down just a little bit. I don't want to. I'll start sounding like I'm 14 years old again. So. But, let's do. What was that? I can play if I can play another shot if you can.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
So anyway.
I've got 3 more. I've got 3 more in the bag. I'll tell you what, we'll do a little bit of jambalaya though. I'm going to get Doug to sing one and give my voice just a little bit of a break here. So,
Are you going to be part of this? Or are you going to take a break?
I might have to take a little break on
Sure
this.
thing.
I'll tell you what though, just to give you a little bit of the history of this song. A lot of folks, pretty much, know the history of maybe the song, kind of the short history of the song Jambalaya, that it was written by Hank Williams. But actually, Hank Williams had been hanging out in Opelousas, Louisiana, and he had heard a band playing there. And from what I've been told, there was a band by the name of Papa Cairo who had been playing in town. And anyway, Hank was coming through, and he heard them playing a song called Grand Texas, Big Texas. And that's actually a real Cajun song, Big Texas. And that song happens to sound like this. If you want to just give you an example of. Now that sounds a lot like this. Sounds a little bit like that. Yeah, well, see, Hank, he heard this song, Grand Texas, and he wanted to pick up that song and start playing it. He's in French. So he rewrote it, throw all these lyrics in, kind of like Moon Mulligan. And that's an inside joke. And so anyway, came up with this and became a huge hit. But the guy who wrote that song, Papa Cairo, they're still waiting for the royalty check in Louisiana and hasn't shown up yet. So yeah, so we'll do it for you. We'll do the English version.
Goodbye, Joe, me gotta go, me oh my. Me gotta go, for the people down the bow. My boss this morning, me oh my. Son of a gun, we'll have big fun on the bow. Everyone, jambalaya, grubfish pie, feel the gumbo. For tonight, I'm gonna sing on the cherry meal. Big guitar, big fruit jar, and a gale. Son of a gun, we'll have big fun on the bow. Jello Fondo, race the button. Kimbo currency upon by the dozen. They're dressed in style, go hog wild and the gale. Son of a gun, we'll have big fun on the bar. Everyone again. Jambalaya, crawfish pie, feel the gumbo. For tonight I'm gonna see my journey, oh. Big guitar, every Johnny Gale. Son of a gun, we'll have big fun on the boat.
It's actually a perfect time for you to go up to the Lions and get some jambalaya.
Yes.
Considering that's what this song's about.
So I'll sing this one more time.
It's for the Lions Club.
Jambalaya, crawfish pie, feeling up. For tonight I'm gonna see my journey, oh. Big guitar, every Johnny Gale. Son of a gun, we'll have big fun on the boat.
Us now.
Sounds awful close to me. Hey, how about that Lions Jambalaya? You can give it right over there and get yourself some of that.
Get you some jambalaya over there at the Lions Club. All right, so we're going to do a song here for you. In fact, we do this one every year. I learned this one. I got this song from Roy Booyer many years ago, and Joe Poley, great fiddle player around Old Mines, he taught a couple people to play this song. And it's called Tout à des dames, which means all the girls. And this would be the song that you'd use to like gather girls to get them out on the dance floor, to get ready for the dance, to line them up, because there was no couple dancing. It was group dancing, round dancing. And so anyway, we'll do it for you. And we always do this every year up, well, now it's at the Arch, but we've been doing this for years, minus COVID, up at the old courthouse in St. Louis. So for the 12th night, and 12th afternoon ball. So we'll do it for you. So it's called Tout à des dames. All right. Okay. So the Nagers are going to come back and help me lead this since they just volunteered. So they got to go to mass here for a few minutes. But this has been a tradition here for at least a couple of decades, and maybe who knows longer than that. Yeah, that's right. Well, she started that. So yeah, that's been like 25 years ago. But yeah, for those of you that just got here, actually, for Patty and I both, this is, and Bill too, this is like our 25th year doing this festival. In fact, because this is the 25th year of the festival, and we were here for the first one. So we were just talking about the fact that it rained that day. And it was back in those days when people were grabbing me and finding me and trying to get me to play tunes for them, because I didn't even know what I was doing at that point. I had learned all these songs over in the old mines area, and I'd learned to speak French, and I learned all the songs. And I was like, all right, well, what does somebody do with that anyway? You know? I was like, what does somebody actually do with all these songs? It's like, it was weird because that was the year that a fiddle player by the name of Roy Booyer asked me to take over La Fête d'Automne over in Old Mines. And so it was kind of an interesting year back in '97. And I was like, okay, I guess I have to, I don't know what I'm doing with this music. And they're like, well, yeah, you know what you're doing because you're the only person that's learned. So they're like, it's either you or nothing. Okay, that's the way it is. So anyway, we'll do a little bit of this one. This is a song from Annie Passion. They used to do this one, and some people do this with music. Some people just do it just clapping hands. And so we'll do it. It's called La Rose d'Ambois. Is the name of it. It means the girls of the woods. This is kind of like the local version of like Little Red Riding Hood, the wolf, except there's no Riding Hood and there's no wolf. So, but anyway, do y'all want to clap along? I said I've been having vocal problems while trying to get through this. Au père aussi ma mère, l'eau dans ton fond qui mouille. Au père aussi ma mère, l'eau dans ton fond qui mouille. L'eau dans ton fond qui mouille, c'est destiné rose dans l'eau. L'eau dans ton fond qui mouille, l'eau dans ton fond qui mouille. Parce qu'ils vont au boire, tous les garçons y vont. Parce que s'ils vont boire, tous les garçons y vont. Tous les garçons y vont, c'est destiné rose en bois. Tous les garçons y vont, tous les garçons y vont. Et man we harakoya, ah we, ah we, ah we. Man we harakoya, ah we, ah we, ah we. Et man we harakoya, c'est destiné la rose en bois. Et la man we harakoya, et la man we harakoya. Est-ce que filles sont belles? Tous les argents y vont. Est-ce que filles sont belles? Tous les garçons y vont. Oui. Tous les garçons y vont, sa destinée rose d'Ambois. Tous les garçons y vont, tous les garçons y vont. Où est-ce que filles sont laides? Tous les garçons vont pas, that's me. Où est-ce que filles sont laides? Tous les garçons vont pas. Tous les garçons vont pas, sa destinée la rose d'Ambois. Tous les garçons vont pas, tous les garçons vont pas. C'est mamie à la cause. Highway, 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 highway. Highway, à la course destinée, la rose d'Ambois. Hermanley à la cour, et c'est tout est à la fin. That was it. Okay. All right. Hey, we're going to take a little break. Thanks for hanging out with us for a little bit. We're just going to take about maybe a 20-30 minute break or so. Not too terribly long. But we'll come back and we will we'll play some more songs for you guys. And I think what we'll do, since the niggers are going to come back a little after 6 o'clock, we're going to all gather out here if you feel like it. And I'll tell you what we'll do. I'll lead you all down to the square area in front of the church, and then you can all head over to the Felix Valley House if you want to for the Dance Discovery. But what we do with the Grand Promenade is basically we're just going to take over the street, and if there's any cars in the street, we just push them out of the way. And we make them go away, we make them stop, we make them go somewhere else. And we're just going to play some old fiddle tunes and march down the street and have some fun. So, okay? So, all right, we'll be back in just a little bit, so don't go anywhere, or if you do, go get you some jambalaya. All right. Thank you. Okay, I tell you what, we're going to do the Voyage. Since we're in St. Genevieve, Missouri, let's do a Voyage with Saint Genevieve. About that. This is the mule song. All right. You know, one time, St. Genevieve, one of the main reasons that St. Gen was actually founded was because of its spot across from Kaskaskia, or just up from Kaskaskia, actually, and being across from Prairie, about basically dropping the lead here because of the flats along the river. It was really easy to get to the river, and so they would bring the lead from the lead mines over around Bonne Terre area and what is now French Village, and of course old mines and the different old mines, different mines because there's so many, and they would bring it over, and well, anyway, they would bring it on the back of pack mules, coming over here. And think about this, going up and down. If you've been up and down Route 21, you know what I'm talking about. Which is, by the way, is like the most dangerous highway in the country, or at least probably the top 10 anyway. But think about trying to go overland from that to get over to St. Genevieve, So basically, I got this song from Roy Bouillard, and he said, this is kind of like a mule's theme song for like carrying lead to St. Genevieve, Missouri. So the song is called Voyage with Saint Genevieve. Listen real close and you'll hear the mule. There we go. We made it to St. Gen. Safe and sound. One piece. Okay, we'll do this song here for you. This is really, without questioning, my favorite song of all the songs from here. Although, to be honest, there's another one kind of coming on that kind of changing my mind in some ways. But this is another song that I got from Annie Fashion. It's a beautiful tune, but that's a problem.
Remember, if it's slow and beautiful, bad outcome.
Yeah, it doesn't work out well. It's a song called Je fais une maîtresse. Not to be confused with Je fais une jolie maîtresse, which is a different song. And but this one is, they call this the Changeling, essentially. And well, when I learned this song, like a lot of these tunes, most of the folks didn't know where these songs were from, including me. And so I had to do some kind of hunting and research, and eventually figured out that this tune, or different derivations, you might say, were like in Louisiana. Some were also in Normandy. Similar versions, like in Canada, but they're not the same. They're not the exact same story. And but it's called the Changeling. Basically, the guy falls in love with a girl, says he's going to marry you on Sunday. So he'll come after her. She's like, well, I don't want anything to do with you. And so, well, anyway, he says, well, then I'll come after you. And she says, well, I'm going to turn into a bird, or like a doe, a deer, female deer. It sounded easy. And it's like, you're going to turn into a chasseur, which would be like a hawk, and a bûcheur, and chasseur are going to come after it and come on and change into all these different animals. And unfortunately, at the end of the song, he drowns because she tricks him by how she changes into another animal at the end of the song, and so in the story. So actually, my girls don't know that many songs, but they paid. They paid close attention. They listened to the story of this, and both of my girls can actually sing this song pretty well, which is interesting. This is like the original Stalker song from like 1750 or something. So anyway, Je fais une maîtresse. Fais-tu une maîtresse il y a pas longtemps? Fais-tu une maîtresse il y a pas longtemps? Que tu vois le dimanche mon gelé fera l'autre mort ma gamme. Je mettrai une biche dans un beau champ. Loin tu n'aurais pas un contentement. Dans chasseur pour chasser, un maître chasseur pour chasser, me mettrait une carpe dans sa tête. Pour moi tu n'aurais pas un catamount. This was an old Roy Booyer song, but as Roy did a lot, this happened with a lot of the fiddle players. They'd play these tunes and they wouldn't tell you the name of it because they didn't know the name of it. They'd just play songs, and so I'd kind of write these songs down. You try to remember them, and I was actually really good with recording fiddle tunes. I did a good job. That wasn't as intimidating, trying to like record somebody singing. Playing fiddle tunes, I've got a lot of recordings, and this is one that was just one of many. There's no name. It's funny because a lot of the different towns up here, have songs named after them or related in some way, but Kaskaskia did not have one, and I don't know if it's because it fell into the Mississippi River. Or what? Not really sure. But anyway, decided to just call this the Kaskaskia Reel. So we'll do it for you. Request. You wanted to. Yeah. I'll tell you what, we'll do another instrumental here for you. This is another song by Charlie Paggi, song called The Midnight Waltz is the name of it, or Valse Minuit. But there's some conflicting stories about the history of this song. Because I've had a couple people that tell me that said, no, it was not really a waltz. This was a minuet. And it just got basically fractured into a waltz as timing. So I'm not really sure what to believe, but it works out. It kind of works out in French or English. You can call it the minuet or minuet, and it works out either way, pretty close. Anyway, we'll do it. It's a pretty song. got to do this song. This is the Way We No No song. We got to get everybody involved in this one. I will try my best. Like I said, the gas is running out on my voice. But I will try to do this. This is a song called Le Chevalier de la Table Ronde, and I picked this song up. I learned about some folks that had the tradition of the King's Ball and Peony up in Cahokia in about 92, And so I ended up going up there and meeting these two brothers from the Duchamp family. And anyway, they taught this song to me. And plus their own version of the Guioni, which was slightly different than everybody else's. But that's okay. That's pretty much common. Everybody's got their own slight interpretation of the Guioni. I know because the first time I ever ran it in Prairie over here, I opened my big mouth and I said, y'all sing it different than they do over in Old Mines. And of course the people in Prairie said, well, what do the people in Old Mines know? They don't even do it anymore. So I was talking to some friends over there and I said, you know what they said about you over there in Prairie? And they're like, well, what do they know? They don't even speak French anymore. So anyway, I was like, I'm not going to get in the middle of this. So anyway, but we'll do this song here for you. This is a drinking song. And it's very simple. In fact, I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to let Doug tell you. He knows the story.
Okay, so if somebody comes up to you and asks you if what you have in your bottle, wine, beer, whatever, is good, you're going to say, oui, oui. Or, around here, it is,
wow.
There you go.
Wow.
There you go. And so, what are you going to do if they come up and try to take your drink away? You're going to say, all right, and to get the exact right dialect, you hold your nose and you go, no. So this is crowd participation. We're going to give you a little sample of how this is going to go. And either you're going to say wah or no.
So let's do it. This is the first part of the melody. It goes like this. And then we'll play the second part. So I'll show you. When you hear those little breaks, that's the part. You got to raise your imaginary glass unless you've got one. Okay, so if you've got your gobelet, raise it. All right. I know I've gotten beat up by a few people in places. They say, you mean your verre? I'm like, no, not my verre. Your gobelet. I say gobelet, my verre. So anyway, here we go. Here we go. We're going to do it for real this time. And I'll do my best to get my hand up there. We'll try to do it. So y'all, you going to do it?
Full crowd participation on this one.
We're watching you over here. So everybody's got to do this. Lions Club members, we'll keep advertising the food, but you got to raise your hands on this song. So, okay, here we go. bon. Viens le voir, viens le voir, non, non. Viens le voir, c'est le vin est bon. Viens le voir, viens le voir, non, non. Viens le voir, c'est le vin est bon. Yeah, that was good job, everybody.
Another dancer has joined us out there.
I appreciate that. Good dancing. Good dancing. All right. I'll tell you what. We'll do. We'll slow it down again. Do this waltz here for you. This is another one of my favorite waltzes. This is another one from Annie Paget. And this is a cool tune. There's a few different variations out there of this one. Annie was always really nice to sit down, and different times she came up with like different versions, you know, of it. And I've gotten to know her family very, very well. Such sweet people. Anyway, this is it's too bad they got songs like this in your family. It's a terrible tune. It's something called La Belle Blondine is the name of it, and the story of the Belle Blonde. And I'll let.
So what happens here is. Basically, La Belle Blondine gets mad at her father, kills him and buries him underneath the house. It is a slow and beautiful tune. But who is it comes to the house to honey?
Well, these people come looking for the father to take him off the war. That's kind of like the suggestion. Right. And but it's interesting because like he's either on a mule or he's evil. Because Borro has two meanings.
So she says, well, where's your father at? La Belle Blondine says, well, he's went off to war. But then he says, well, if he's off the war, why is his horse tied up to the tree?
Mm-hmm. At this point, it becomes an episode of Law and Order.
So you know what happens to La Belle Blondine? She's swinging from the tree by the neck. It's a slow, beautiful tune.
It is. It's a pretty song. I know y'all are really happy about that. C'est la belle blondine, Malorelona. C'est la belle blondine qui a fait une chanson. La chanson commence, Maranelona. La chanson commence, son père l'a tué. He's dead. Son père l'a tué. Son père l'a tué, oui, he's killed him. J'ai pris à la porte, Maranelona. Pris à la porte, Baroque est arrivé. Here they go. Son père n'était pas la guerre. All right, we'll do a fiddle tune here for you. This is an interesting song. I'll tell you just a little bit of the story about this one. This is a tune that I learned this one from Roy, and this song is called Le Cabri. Le Cabri, just Le Cabri, which means the billy goat, essentially. It's a mountain billy goat or just a billy goat. And well, you know, it's kind of one of those songs that it was through this, because when I was really learning, and I kind of learned a lot of these songs and music, you know, I didn't really get at the time, you know, how the French here are kind of connected to the other French around North America. And I had even lived in Louisiana, and stuff didn't make any sense to me, you know, at different times, and I would hear them, and even though they're like blaring you in the face, they didn't make sense. And in fact, this is one of those songs that's a good example. And it probably was the one song that really kind of like put it all together for me. This is about 22, 23 years ago. And it was only the realization of the history of this song, or you might say the connection. And I'll just play it just a little bit. We're going to eventually play it, but here's a teaching moment, you might say. Here's my teaching moment. This is it goes like this. So that's kind of the melody of the song, Cabri. Well, if you hear again, listen to this part. It goes. Well, I was in Louisiana when I was working down there in like 93, 94, and I'd met a gentleman by the name of Billy Mcgee, who was the son of a great fiddle player by the name of Dennis Mcgee, and he would do this song called McGee's Reel. I heard this song, and they played the song, and it went like this. They go. Nothing different, right? Different, right? Yeah. You hear something? Starting to hear something? I didn't. At the time, I thought of it as something completely different. And then I went on tour with this Cajun band out of Cairn Crow, Louisiana, and we went to Nova Scotia, and we were out on Cape Breton Island. And before we had gotten there, because I'd learned all these old Acadian, style fiddle tunes as well. This is 23 years ago. The band leader, Cheryl Cormier, she tells me, she says, all these folks out in Acadia, these Acadians, they don't like accordion because of the Cajun accordion music. She said, Dennis, you need to teach my guys, 5 or 6 fiddle tunes, so that we can play them for these people because they don't like the accordion. I thought that was strange, so I was like, okay, fine. So one of the songs I taught him was the Mcgee's Reel. Now, don't forget Le Cabri. Don't forget Le Cabri. I had, in that sense, you know, and not connecting them. And so we play the show, we play this dance, and this guy comes up to me and says at the end of the show, he says, he said, hey, petit garçon, il sait, c'est la chanson qu'ils ont jouée. C'est moi, il est dans le show. Ici, on a un spectacle. Parce qu'elle a dit, il s'appelle la chanson, c'est le Mcgee's Reel. Ouais. C'est pas le Mcgee's Reel. It's not, you know, so it's not Mcgee's Reel. And he's like, no, you were playing like a Brie à monter. I was like, what's that? You know, I mean, I know what it is. I said, you're talking about a mountain billy goat. And he was like, yeah, that's the song you were trying to play. And not only that, you were playing it wrong. And I was like, whoa, these people up here in Canada. You know, and so anyway, I said, well, are you a fiddle player? And he said, well, yeah. And I said, well, would you show me? So I handed him my fiddle, and he starts playing the song. This is what he played. He goes like, you're probably getting the idea. So I was listening to that and I was like, wait a second. And so I took the song and you hear. The Mcgee's Reel. It was just a variation. I realized all of a sudden the variation was Mcgee's Reel in Louisiana. Actually, the way they played it in Canada and the way we played it here was not that far off. It was just a different variation of the bowing, but it's the same song, almost exactly. Chord-wise, it works out. And so it was probably that song of any of them that helped me to think, you know what? Our French culture here and our music and our language really is connected. We're not just some like orphans, you know, out in Missouri and Illinois. You know, we're connected. And you know, probably a couple hundred years down the road. So, well, anyway, I've talked myself silly, but let's play the tune. And we got time. We're just going to do a couple more songs here for you. And then we're going to get off stage. If anybody is interested in a CD, I'll go get the CDs. I'll bring them back. But then we're going to get ready, and we're actually going to do the Grand Promenade. Okay, which I mentioned earlier. We're gonna go take the street, and if there's any cars in the street, well, we're just gonna push them out of the way. And we're gonna walk around. I'm gonna play some fiddle tunes, and we're gonna walk down to the Felix Valley House. How about that? We'll take you all down to the dance discovery here in a little bit. So here we go. Thank you very much. I want to quickly introduce everybody in the band up here before we finish things out. But please put your hands together over here on the upright bass. If you're wondering what he's playing over here, some people say, what is that stick that he's playing? Over here all the way from Savoy, Illinois, which is, you know where Savoy is because Champaign, Urbana, Illinois are actually a suburb of Savoy, Illinois. Everybody, please put your hands together, Mr. Greg Bigler. Over here on that Washburn guitar, earlier this afternoon, you saw him playing a Telecaster. I was so out of my mind, I couldn't make the head and tail the difference between the two of them. So anyway, all the way from Allendale, Illinois, everybody, just a stone's throw from the Wabash River, just down from Vincennes, Indiana. Please put your hands together on vocals and guitar. Mr. Doug Hoff, everybody.
Thank you very much. This guy here in the middle, he plays, I don't mean to rhyme, but he plays the fiddle. And earlier he was playing the fiddle and the accordion. And you know what? Every trip that we take is a history lesson for us, whether we want it or not. No, he's very knowledgeable in what he does here. He knows the history of the music and the culture of the Illinois, Indiana, Missouri Creole lifestyle. And all the way from Albion, Illinois, Mr. Dennis Stromack.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you, everybody. I want to say again a big thank you for the Committee for the Restoration of St. Genevieve for putting this festival on again. This is the 25th year it's been going on, and you know the Lions Club are a big part of this too, so we want to support them. Just to remind you all that there is a 50-50 drawing. Sandra, are you out there? Can you hear us? Have you been selling any 50-50 tickets?
Okay. Look at your tickets. 224-191.
Hey, let's give her a big hand.
We have another drawing. And this is a wonderful thing that one of our merchants donated to us. Himalayan crystal lamps. Himalayan salt lamps in an artisan bowl. And this was donated by whom? It's a new store up the street. Rural Mission. It's her first year and she joined and she's all excited to help us. And this is from Rural Mission. These crystal lights. So we're going to draw for this one. Everybody get your tickets ready. 224215. Must be present to win. 224215. Okie doke, we're going to do it again. You have it? 224415. Wait a minute. No, 215.
215, Greg.
You got 215?
Win it every time.
You'll have to take it too.
All right, have another winner. Let's give him a big hand.
All right, well, thank you all very much, everybody. We're going to do one more tune here for you. We're going to do the oldest song that there is, and at least as far as we know in North America. We usually, in fact, we got to go out in a couple weeks. We're heading to New York to go play the Old Songs Festival, and we played that some years ago, and we were actually kind of having a throwdown about who had the oldest song. Well, when we played this one for it, said, yeah, ours goes back to about the 13th century. Everybody else was like, okay, we're not worthy. All right, French can have it. So anyway, we'll do it. We'll just do a little bit of this song. This is the song that is the perennial song that happens here every year on New Year's Eve. It's called La Guillonne, and which is actually a begging song. It's a begging song. The tradition is begging, very similar to like Halloween, and, Christmas caroling. It's kind of all a part of it. And anyway, we'll just do a little bit of it for you. This has got anywhere between it could be anywhere from like 22 to 26 to 32 verses, depending on the village. All right, there's different ways of doing this, but the way I do it is not exactly like it's done in St. John's. It's slightly a variation. The way I do it is the way that Rosie Pratt sang it over in Old Mines, Missouri. And that's where I got it. So anyway, something called La Guillonette. Creole, not Creole stop. That was the early band. My brain's gone. We're L'Esprit Creole. Thank you again for having us today. And I want to quickly mention it'll be hard for me to probably gather you, but if give me about 10 minutes here. If anybody wants to do the promenade and walk with us, we're going to do it. I think we got Patty and Bill back, so we're going to do this. And was anybody interested in a CD? Is anybody interested in a CD? If not, I won't go to the truck. You are? Okay, so I'll go to the truck. Okay, now we got two. All right, do I hear three? No, I'm just kidding. So, all right, give me just a few minutes. We're going to shut this down, and then I will come back over, take care of the CDs, and then we're going to line up right out here, and I'm going to play probably I don't know, maybe 6 or 8 old-time French fiddle tunes all the way from here to the Felix Valley House. I'll tell you what, I'll take you all to the Dance Discovery. They got something going on there. So we'll just go that far. It's a little warm out, so we won't go any farther than that. So give me about 10 minutes. In the meantime, get yourself something to eat, something to drink. We're going to do the Grand Promenade du Soir. Okay? All right. Thank you, everybody.
Promenade du Soir. We got the street dancers, the street parade dancers with us.
You are too.
Yeah.
Here, look behind you. That's great. You guys are great. Love it. Yes. There you go. Now we're dragging them in. Drag them in. I mean, if we're going to do this.
We'll go around the corner.
That's what we do.
Now everyone knows there's all the dance discoveries going on here. The Voyage here at the Felix Valley House is happening right now, so it's a good stopping point, a good place to take in some more activities and stuff. Lions Club Park is just right around the corner if that's where you want to get back to, where we started. So what do you guys, what's going on here?
Dance Discovery, who's going to be doing some more dancing this evening. We're also doing a few French folk tales interspersed in with dance. Just to let everybody know, you're at the Felix Valley State Historic Site. This is a state historic site, part of the state park system here in Missouri. So we're delighted to have you this evening. And I can feel that cool breeze wafting through my linen shirt right now. So it's a good thing. We did a folk tale earlier. We're going to do a little different one now. But I just want to let y'all know these folk tales are part of a collection that was created by a lady named Rosemary. She came down into this region, into the area west of here, Old Mines, and in the 1960s studied the French-speaking people in Old Mines, an isolated area where they were still speaking the French patois that they had grown up with and had been using since colonial times. She was wise enough to record those French-speaking people, the native French-speaking people, in that native dialect, and she had them tell the folk tales and stories that were part of their childhood. She recorded those and created a book called It's Good to Tell You, which is what we have here. So she was smart enough to record that because, you know, in the 1960s, French-speaking people there were very common in that local area. Today, you have a hard time coming up with another French-speaking person, except for the guy you just spent the last couple of hours with, Dennis Stromat. Dennis Stromat also did the wise thing and learned that French dialect. Sing it and speak it. So we have a few far-sighted people preserving that kind of cultural tradition. We told a little story called Little John and His Animals. We're going to go into a little more sophisticated tale now. Rosemary Hyde Thomas recorded it and wrote the tale out in French. So would telling it in French be okay with everybody tonight?
Bill, you better get in here. He's reading in French right now.
Bill doesn't seem real excited about it.
No, he is. No. Bill, you're excited.
I think everybody else, you may switch back to English, Patty. Okay, as you listen to this folktale, you're going to think to yourself, I've maybe heard part of this story before. There are going to be some elements of Aesop's fables. There are going to be some other elements of stories that you've heard in folktales. I think the history of folktales is very much a blending of some cultural traditions. So you're going to hear some funny stuff, and you're going to hear some things that sound a little bit familiar. This one is called Old Man Lefebvre. Does anyone know what Lefebvre is? It's Bean. So this is Old Man Bean. Old Man Lefebvre. So, just have that in mind. All the stories start out the same way. It's good to tell you that once upon a time there was an old man and an old woman. They were poor, and all they had to eat every day was beans. Old Man Lefebvre had sowed beans in his garden. One of the vines went way up in the air, and one day the old man decided to climb it and see where it went. When he got to the end of the vine, he was in another world. He got off on this new horse and started walking. He spent the night at an inn, and then he walked some more the next day. Late in the afternoon, he arrived at another house, and he began talking with the old man and old woman who lived there. That evening, he told them how poor he was. The old woman said, "I'm going to give you a beautiful napkin, and when you want something to eat, all you have to do is spread out your napkin and say, 'Beautiful napkin, bring me something to eat and drink.'" The next evening, he was on his way back home, and he came to the inn where he'd spent the first night. The innkeeper asked him what he had in his little package. He said, "Oh, it's a beautiful napkin." That night, when the old man was sleeping, the innkeeper went in and put an old napkin under his arm in place of the magic one. When the old man got back home, he called in his wife and told her to set the table. Then he spread out his napkin and said, "Beautiful napkin, bring me something to eat and drink." He waited a while, but nothing happened. He said to his wife, "I was tricked last night." The next morning he left again and climbed back up his beanstalk. He stayed at the inn again that night, and the morning after he set out to find his friends who had given him the napkin. This time they gave him an old bag. Next morning he left with his old bag to go back home. He had to stay at the inn again that night, and the innkeeper asked him about his old horse. He said, "That old horse makes money." So the innkeeper took her own old horse and exchanged it with Old Man Lefebvre's old horse. The next morning, the old man left with the wrong horse to go back home. When he got home, he told his wife to spread out a good sheet on the ground. After a while, the old horse made a big pile of manure on the sheet.
Good garden stuff.
The old woman was angry with her husband, and he said to her, "I was tricked again last night. I'm going back there again tomorrow morning." So he went back to find his friends the next day, and they said to him, "Why did you come back?" "I lost my horse," he told them. "Well, spend the night with us and get rested up," they answered. The next morning, when he was ready to leave, they gave him a little bumblebee. They told him, "All you have to say is, 'Little bumblebee, do as God tells you,' and that little bumblebee will do its due." It knows what to do with that infant. She's the one who tricked him. That evening, the old man arrived at the inn to spend the night. He put his little bumblebee on the mantel. The innkeeper asked him, "What are you putting there?" "Oh, there? Oh," answered the old man, "it's just a little bumblebee." The innkeeper asked, "What are you doing with that little bumblebee?" "Oh, nothing," said the old man. "You only have to say to it, 'Do what God commands,' and it stings." Well, that tickled the innkeeper's fancy. The next morning she got up and said to her husband, before Old Man Lefebvre had gotten up, "I just have to go and say to that little bumblebee, 'Do what God commands.'" She tiptoed down to the fireplace and said, "Do what God commands, little bumblebee." The little bumblebee began, bing, bang, zick, zap, all around the innkeeper's head, and she began to holler, Wake up, old man. Your bumblebee is stinging me. That's not my fault, answered old man Lefebvre. Didn't I tell you to leave it alone? Give me back my napkin and my horse. Sting her more, little bumblebee. Make it stop, screamed the innkeeper. I'll give them back to you. They ate breakfast, and then old man Lefebvre told the innkeeper it was time to give him back his horse and his napkin. The innkeeper answered, I swear to you, I don't have them. So old man Lefebvre spoke to the bumblebee again and said, do as God commands until she gives me back my napkin and my horse. The bumblebee began again, bing, bang, all around the innkeeper's old head as if it was caressing her. She shouted, make it stop. I'll give those things back to you. So this time, instead of stopping the bee right away, old man Lefebvre said to the innkeeper, go get them and bring them right here to me, and then I'll make the bee stop. So she went, got the napkin and the horse, and brought them to old man Lefebvre and gave them to him. Now, he said to the bee, now you can stop, little bumblebee. Wrapped up his little bumblebee, put it in his pocket, and left to go back home. When he got home, he told his wife to set the table, set it for a big feast. The old woman was still angry with him. She said, I'm not setting the table for you anymore. You're just plain stupid. He unwrapped the little bumblebee and said, as God commands, my little bumblebee. The bumblebee attacked the old woman's head. Bing, bang, make it stop, she shouted. I'll set the table. The old man put his beautiful napkin on the table and asked it to bring him something to eat and drink. The table was overflowing. After a while, he brought up the old horse, asked it for gold and silver, and it filled up the whole sheet with gold and silver. The old woman was really happy. And so, old man Lefebvre and his wife lived happily ever after for the rest of their days. Old man Lefebvre. We got 100 more. All right. Enjoy your performance and your time with Discovery. Thanks.
Merci beaucoup.
De rien, monsieur.
We don't have 100 dancers, so okay. Well, we do, but we're just not going to do it.
Oh, and don't forget, the two lovely ladies on the porch are more than glad to get you a little drink, a little cookie, a little cake, some refreshments.
Our next dance is called Three Cone Walk. It is a long way set. This differs a little bit from the first dance we did in that three couples are involved in the dance pattern rather than two. Again, watch the colored sashes so you can see what the couples are doing and how they're interacting with each of the other couples. This dance also appears in the third and fifth books of the Complete Country Dancing Master, the same source for the previous dance we did, Sam's Magnet. We present Three Cone Walk. 4 times 3. actually could be danced in long ways, as we have done previously, or in the set dance formation, as we have chosen to use only 3 couples and dance it as a set piece. This dance was written by Thomas Wilson in 1813 and appears in the publication 24 Country Dances for the year of 1813. All 3 couples will have their turn to be the active couple, which you would have seen not seen in our previous set dances. So it'll be interesting, and you can see how the couples will rotate through all the positions in this set dance. Suzette Salamanca, Pastel.
Oh, great to enjoy your company. We have your number, and maybe we'll see you again. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you guys. Have fun. As we'll travel, come across again. Yeah, we have one of our cards. Did you get we gave the lady. Come to St. John, and we need a place to stay. Look us up. We'll take good care of you. Okay. All right, pleasure to meet you. Okay.
Let's rewrite those books, by the way.
All right.
As is typical with Hollywood, the dance really didn't fit. Jane would have never danced it. But because it's in the movie, it's associated with her, so we thought we'd present it to you. It was written in and published in 1651, so way too old for Jane, but it's a beautiful dance, and we're using a restoration, if you will, or a interpretation by my husband and also one of our international callers, Colin Hume from the UK. So we'll present Mr. Beveridge's Magnet. of dances. The new genre is alive as well. We have choreographers who are still creating dances in the flavor of the figures that you have seen. So this next dance was written, it's called Mary Kay, and it was no friend of his, written by Gary Luther. He is a national level choreographer. He is from St. Louis. Math and science fit very well. We got a lot of computer geeks in here, civil engineers, and they do really well. Yes, civil engineer, computer geeks, they're all here. So it seems to mix really well with this type of dancing. One of the things that Mr. Rubin sometimes does is listens to the music first and then writes the dance, as opposed to creating the dance and then finding the music. In my opinion, and you can take it for what it's worth, it sure makes them easy to flow, because he's already considered what is the music doing before he fits the figure to it. The tune for this dance is Frédéric Chopin's Scherzo in C minor, written in 1831. And it was adapted for this dance by Dave Wiesler, who is another national level musician that plays a lot of our English country dances. This is the long way set formation, so you will see two couples, and then the next two doing the pattern, and you can watch the sashes to see how they move to the next couple as the pattern repeats. So this also is a little different than what we've been doing. You'll see the women have changed the first couples, if you raise your hands. The women are on what we call the improper side. We get improper once in a while. So they're actually on the men's side. We have two men on the women's side. So this was not unusual in historical dance, but it's a little more popular in our modern dances. So we'll present to you Mary Kay. song that is alive and well. This last dance is called John Harris's Cannon. I don't know if any of you ever sang Row, Row, Row Your Boat around. Okay. This is a dancing around rather than a song around. So you'll notice the couples on the diagonal will start the pattern. Then the couples on the other diagonal will begin the same pattern. So you see technically a 4-count delay between the people on the diagonal. Now Martha is absolutely fabulous, but this takes 2 sets of this tune. So we're going to put the CD on. She'll play the third one. I know I am going to. She'll play the third one. Because the music is in the round or in the cannon formation as well. So if my people on the first corners would raise their hands. Liz, the first corner? Okay. So they will start the pattern. You'll schools that would like to learn about good country dancing or to come and join us. So please take a flyer, if nothing else, for a souvenir. Thank you for having us again this year.
Yeah, thank you.
Please thank the dancers that are
Well, we appreciate you being here to visit with us for our Voyage. Have a great evening. Thanks very much for spending part of your day with us. Thank you.